Hello. Today I wanted to talk about being a good advocate and doing public speaking. There are many opportunities to speak as a transgender individual or part of any minority. Colleges often want presenters and panels. Um, I've spoken to high school youth. I've spoken to volunteers that work with high school youth, and just today I spoke to a group of college kids as part of a panel. And so it got me thinking about how to make the best of that time. And I think being well prepared is really, really important. So some of the things that I was thinking about as I was driving home from the presentation, which I don't feel was my best presentation that I've given. I don't think it went badly, but I definitely think that I could have done better. And so I just kind of went over the presentation in my own head, and for what it's worth, I am absolutely my harshest critic, so we'll throw that into the mix. So one of the really important things, I think, is familiarizing yourself or refamiliarizing yourself with 101 speech. I know for me, I get really comfortable talking to other people who are trans and who are very familiar with kind of trans lingo. Recently, I've been making brochures and doing some educational materials, and so I've just kind of gotten all up in my own head, and that became really obvious as I introduced myself as a non-binary person and didn't bother to explain what that meant. So we had to backtrack a little bit, and if I had kind of practiced and refamiliarized myself with some kind of 101, some basic verbiage, I think I would have made a better first impression. Before you go, find some stats, find some statistics. It would be important to know things like suicide or attempted suicide statistics, self-harm statistics, drug use or tobacco usage statistics within your community. Today's panel was an LGBT panel. One of the other ones that presentations I'd done was trans specific, so we were part of the whole umbrella today, the LGBT umbrella. And I learned that about 70% of LGBT individuals smoke cigarettes. 70%. That's like really freaking huge. I had no idea. I didn't know that. I hadn't bothered to ever look, but somebody else knew that and shared that statistic, and that was really powerful to the class we were talking to. So those things would be good to know. Make sure you find a way to speak broadly about your community at large, not just about you, because you don't want people to walk away feeling like they know. In my case, I heard Seven speak, so I know about all transgender people. Obviously, I am not all transgender people, so I tried to speak broadly, give examples of other people without using their names, about other people's experiences, things that people have said to me, and I relayed that to the class. I also talked about our support group in general and gave some broader concepts. I also make sure to kind of give a disclaimer that I am not the entire community and that I don't speak for the entire community. And while I do my best to advocate for trans people and trans rights and educate people about what it is to be transgender, I can't possibly cover or express the entire community. It's not possible. And that while I have chosen to come and present and talk about transgender issues, the person that you see on the street has not made that choice. And so it would not be appropriate to ask somebody in the grocery store or somebody on the street or what have you to start asking them questions about being transgender. That would not be appropriate. They didn't sign up for that. I did. That's why I'm here. So kind of giving that disclaimer, I think, is important. People I think more often than not, are visual learners. So bring something for them to look at. If you've asked ahead of time and there's going to be a projector, you could bring pictures or graphics that might help you express your point. Some people feel comfortable bringing pictures of their pre-transitioned self to kind of give that comparison. Not everybody feels comfortable with that, and that's fine. But if you are, you could bring that. Graphics, things like the genderbread person, or I've got a couple of different graphics that I've used, worked really well for the youth. They loved it. Adults, not as much. So you kind of want to know your audience, know who you're talking to, as to what kind of thing you would bring along. To today's presentation, I brought a handout that's a glossary of terms for transgender people, so that we can all use the same words and know what those words mean to have a meaningful conversation. Yeah, got my notes. Find out more about your audience and try and cater to them. I didn't do that for today's panel. I knew I was going to a college. I knew I was talking to a college class. I thought that it was just a straight psychology class. I was mistaken. It was actually a class for people who are specializing in chemical dependence types of therapy. And had I known that, I definitely would have catered more to that and brought some more statistics and spoken less about my personal experience and more about perhaps some of those issues that are definitely prevalent in our community about drugs and alcohol and why that is. So had I known, then I would have catered to that more. When I spoke to the youth, I did know that that's who I was talking to, and so brought some graphics that I thought they might really enjoy. Gingerbread person and a gender world graphic and a couple different really colorful graphics, and I was thankfully right. They really did dig that, so that was really handy and really got them involved. Hopefully we're going to be, my Speakers Bureau that I'm a part of is going to be talking to Planned Parenthood, so our focus is going to be medical issues and reproductive health, particularly for trans men. So I'm not going to bring cutesy graphics. I don't think that's going to work in that setting. So we're focusing more on what we can do to be medically minded and what's really going to resonate with that group. So you kind of want to cater to who you're speaking to and kind of alter what you might say. And then last, but I definitely don't think is least, is bring something to write on and to write with so that you can take notes, because panel discussions seem to be personal story time and then Q&A. And damn if they don't ask some questions that you didn't see coming. So it's good to write those questions down so that you can think about that for the next time that you're doing a presentation. Or if you're part of a Speakers Bureau, you can report back to that bureau and go, wow, they asked me this question, and I totally had no idea. If that comes up again, what should we all say? And use it as a learning opportunity to better your speaking, and use that time to be the best advocate for your community. So, yeah. What did I miss? What do you think is important? Have you ever spoken or been part of a panel? Leave me a comment. Let me know.